In the waters of Lake Michigan, there is an area where ships have vanished, planes have disappeared, and explanations remain incomplete. Unlike the Bermuda Triangle, most people have never heard of it, but the incidents are documented, and the questions remain unanswered. If you're here because you value thorough investigation over sensational claims, could you consider subscribing? We examine America's mysterious places with evidence, not exaggeration. A like helps others find content that treats curiosity seriously. Now, let's explore what makes the Michigan Triangle different. The Michigan Triangle is not an official designation. It has no markers, no boundaries recognized by the Coast Guard or maritime authorities, but the term refers to a triangular region of Lake Michigan, roughly bounded by Manitowoc, Wisconsin to the west, Ludington, Michigan to the east, and Benton Harbor, Michigan to the south. Lake Michigan is the only Great Lake entirely within the United States. It covers nearly 23,000 square miles and reaches depths of over 900 feet. It is heavily trafficked, with cargo ships, ferries, fishing vessels, and recreational boats crossing it daily. The region has been a vital shipping route since the 1800s. Lumber, iron ore, grain, and passengers moved across these waters for more than a century. Thousands of vessels have crossed Lake Michigan safely, but some have not. The Michigan Triangle became a topic of interest in the 1970s when writers and researchers began noting a pattern of disappearances in this specific area. The term itself is relatively recent, but the incidents it describes are not. Several well-documented incidents have occurred within or near the Michigan Triangle. These are not rumors, they're part of official maritime and aviation records. In 1891, the schooner Thomas Hume left Chicago bound for Muskegon, Michigan, carrying lumber. The ship, its crew of 7, and its cargo vanished. No distress signals were sent, no wreckage was found. Despite searches, the Thomas Hume was never recovered. The ship remained missing for over 120 years. In 2006, a shipwreck matching its description was located off the coast of Saugatuck, Michigan, but the cause of the sinking remains unknown. In 1937, Captain George Donner was aboard the freighter O.M. McFarland, traveling from Erie, Pennsylvania to Port Washington, Wisconsin. On April 28th, the ship was passing through the triangle when Donner retired to his cabin. He asked to be woken when the ship neared port. When crew members went to wake him, the cabin was locked from the inside. They broke down the door. Donner was gone. His belongings were still in the cabin. The portholes were closed. No one saw him leave. Nobody was ever found. In 1950, Northwest Airlines Flight 2501, a DC-4 aircraft, was flying from New York to Seattle with a refueling stop in Minneapolis. The flight carried 55 passengers and 3 crew members. As it passed over Lake Michigan, the plane requested permission to descend to a lower altitude due to turbulence. It was denied. Shortly after, the plane disappeared from radar. No distress call was made. Wreckage washed ashore near South Haven, Michigan, but the main body of the aircraft was never found. It remains one of the deadliest unsolved aviation disasters in U.S. history. In 1937, a commercial airliner flying over the triangle reported seeing a strange object in the sky. The pilot described it as glowing and moving erratically. The object was never identified. This is documented in aviation logs, but no further information was recorded. These are not the only incidents. Other ships, smaller aircraft, and private boats have disappeared in the same general area. Some were recovered. Many were not.
Several patterns emerge when examining incidents in the Michigan Triangle. First, many disappearances occur without warning. No distress signals, no mayday calls, no indication of trouble. Vessels simply vanish from radar or lose contact and are never seen again. Second, some incidents occur in calm weather. Flight 2501 disappeared during a storm, but the Thomas Hume and other vessels vanished on clear days, with no reported storms or rough conditions. Third, recovery efforts often fail. Even when wreckage is found, the main body of the vessel or aircraft is not located. Lake Michigan is deep, but it is not the ocean. Recovery operations have successfully located other wrecks in the same waters, yet certain disappearances remain unresolved. Fourth, there are accounts of unusual phenomena. Pilots have reported instrument malfunctions. Sailors have described compasses behaving erratically. Some have reported strange lights or objects in the sky. These reports are anecdotal, but appear with enough frequency to form a pattern. Fifth, some disappearances involve people, not just vessels. Captain Donner's case is the most famous, but there are others. Individuals have reportedly vanished from boats or aircraft without explanation, leaving their belongings behind. Several theories attempt to explain the incidents in the Michigan Triangle. Some are based on science, others are speculative. The most accepted explanation involves weather. Lake Michigan is known for sudden, severe storms. Winds can shift rapidly, waves can reach dangerous heights. Even experienced sailors can be caught off guard. Storms could explain many of the disappearances, particularly older incidents before advanced weather forecasting existed. Another theory involves rogue waves. These are abnormally large waves that appear without warning, even in relatively calm conditions. They can capsize ships or cause structural damage. Rogue waves have been documented on the Great Lakes. They are rare, but possible. There is also the theory of mechanical failure. Ships and aircraft from earlier eras were less reliable than modern vessels. Equipment malfunctions could lead to accidents without survivors to report what happened. If a plane lost power over open water or a ship's hull ruptured, it could sink quickly. Some researchers point to underwater currents. Lake Michigan has strong currents that can pull wreckage far from the site of an incident. This could explain why some vessels are never found, even after extensive searches. A less scientific theory involves magnetic anomalies. Some believe that unusual magnetic fields in the area interfere with navigation equipment, causing compasses and instruments to fail. However, no comprehensive studies have confirmed the presence of such anomalies in this specific region. There were also theories involving UFOs and paranormal activity. These are based on eyewitness accounts of strange lights and unidentified objects. While these reports exist, they are not supported by physical evidence. They reflect human attempts to explain events that seem otherwise inexplicable. The Michigan Triangle matters because the disappearances are real. Ships and planes did vanish. People did lose their lives. Families lost loved ones without closure. It also matters because the pattern raises questions about how we understand risk. Lake Michigan is considered safe. Millions of people cross it every year without incident. Yet the Triangle incident suggests that under certain conditions, even familiar waters can become dangerous. The Michigan Triangle has also become part of local folklore. It appears in books, documentaries, and online discussions. It draws curiosity seekers and researchers who want to understand what happened. Some believe the mystery has been solved. Others believe there is more to uncover. For aviation and maritime historians, the Triangle represents unfinished work. Flight 2501 in particular remains a priority for recovery teams. Finding the wreckage could provide answers not just about that specific flight, but about aviation safety practices in the 1950s. The Michigan Triangle is not cursed. It is not a portal. It is a stretch of water where several unexplained incidents have occurred over more than a century. Some of those incidents can be explained by weather, mechanical failure, or human error. Others remain unsolved not because of supernatural forces, but because evidence is missing. The question is not whether the Michigan Triangle is dangerous. It is no more dangerous than any other large body of water. The question is why certain incidents within this area resist explanation, even with modern technology and investigative methods. Perhaps the answer is that we expect more certainty than the past can provide. Perhaps some mysteries persist simply because the evidence is gone. Or perhaps the Triangle is a reminder that even in well-traveled places, some questions remain unanswered.